Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. So I thought it'd be neat to make a video laying out all of the parts that I got over the winter in order to complete the swap. I spent the winter months researching and asking questions of friends and those on the internet. What components and what do I need to do in order to make this a successful and reliable swap? I wore out the ears of a lot of friends and people, but I'm super grateful for all the help that I received. As you know, I am a first grade teacher, and with that comes summer break. I found it really difficult to find time throughout the year to get into the garage and make any progress on that. With the addition of a new baby, it was literally impossible, and family will always come first. And so I had to put this off until summer break. I have 9 to 10 weeks ahead of me where I can put and devote to getting this done, and that's what I'm gonna spend my time on and see how far I can get on this swap. My goal is to be trailering this over to Spokane sometime early August to have it dyno tuned, and if all goes well, I think that is a doable timeline. It's early June right now. So let's dive into this video and look at what components I gathered. If you notice that there's something that I've missed or that I'm going about completely wrong, let me know in the comments. I'd appreciate it. But I think I got 95% of what I need in order to complete the swap. Now, before I can even start on the motor, which has a lot of work to do, I want to tackle some things on the chassis first. First thing I want to do before we put this motor in is I want to route the headlight harnesses through the fenders. Mark on Honda Street Garage did a vlog on this years ago, and it's quite simple, where you just de-pin the plugs, reroute them, and this cleans up the bay really nicely. The next thing we'll tackle is swapping out the EK subframe for the DC subframe here. So I have all the components necessary to do that so we can run the EKK2 mounts. This is a DC subframe from my buddy Mike Bryan at Dark Matter Coatings. Powder coated this in a nice satin finish black, and he also did some EG lower control arms for me, and he pushed in some new suspension bushings as well. We are going to use a EG manual steering rack. We're able to do that on a power steering subframe via the NRG Tech conversion bracket. So this allows you to run that manual rack on the power steering subframe. I have all of the hardware here necessary to bolt the subframe up to the car as well. We're going to use the Blocks rigid collar kit as well. I heard that keeps the subframe square. I think it's something that happens probably more under high horsepower situations, but nevertheless, we're going to go with those. We have them, so why not? We also have PCI outer tie rods for the completion of the steering rack. The DC subframe allows us to run the EKK2 mounts. These are from Hossport, and I had them anodized in a gunmetal, which I think turned out really nice. I opted for this instead of going raw aluminum, just because I thought the aluminum was a little too loud, a little too bright for my liking, and I did not want your eyes to be drawn to the motor mount and more so the engine itself. And I think these look really nice in there. We're going to also install the traction bar. I wasn't going to run one originally, but Mike suggested I do so. The K24 has a lot of torque and power, and that will induce some wheel hop, so we will be installing that. This comes with some brackets to mount the radiator on, which I hope will work for me because that'll save some time having to have brackets fabbed up on this. So hopefully that works out. The next thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to pull the dash so we can remove the heater core. I plan on running the shifter cables through the original hole in the firewall there. K-Tune makes this really nice grommet piece to make it have a completed look. So we will have to remove the dash to do so, but that in itself shouldn't be too big of a problem. While we're in there, we will also install the Rywire drive-by-wire pedal kit that they have. This is great because it saves me the time and the hassle of removing my whole assembly and having someone fab up this pedal on there. So this utilizes a bracket and some hardware, and we will install that when we are in there. So those are the things that need to take place on the chassis before we can even start the motor. But let's look at this. So this is a JDM K24. I got it from H Motors online. I've removed all of the components that are unnecessary. I will have to swap out the water passage. I have the new USDM one with the correct water pump as well. We'll be using the PLM billet one-piece all aluminum housing, which gets rid of all of the plastic components that originally come with it from Honda. The next thing we'll do is we'll get in and swap out the oil pump. I have the 4-piston ported oil pump, the Type S one, and all of their necessary hardware in order to make that an installation breeze. After that, we'll dig into the timing chain cover area in here. I have some DC parts, our drag cartel parts. We have the lower chainstay, we have a new timing chain, and we have the timing gear kit, as well as a new tensioner. And then we'll also install the 50-degree VTC. We have all new hardware from Honda, so anything you see exterior will be replaced with new OEM bolts. I made an extensive list, and I think I got everything I need in order to do that. So we have new gaskets, we have all new hardware, all of the things that you would see will be replaced when that time comes. As far as the intake manifold, I originally wanted to use the OEM RBC intake manifold, but because I'm going to be running the Bosch 74mm drive-by-wire throttle body, you can see on the RBC manifold how much would need to be removed in order for this to flow nicely. And you can see right there, it would cut into that, that passage there, and I thought that would just open up a can of worms that I did not want to deal with. So I went with the Skunk 2 Pro Series. This starts out as a 72mm opening, so there will only need to be a little bit of material removed in order for this to be matched. This is an adapter plate from a company called Ichiban, and it allows you to use the bolt pattern of the RBC manifold in conjunction with the Bosch throttle body. So pretty nice piece. And then coming off of that, we'll just run Hybrid Racing's cold air intake. This is a full silicone tube. I assume that is so there is less heat soak. And then this has a velocity stack and a large cone filter. Coming off of the exhaust side, we will be looking or be using, this is Skunk 2's Alpha K-swap header. This is a nice piece. I'm excited to run this, which will be mated up to a thermal research and development 3-inch exhaust system. I originally wanted to go with the Greddy K-swap 3-inch that they offer, but everywhere that I called did not have them in stock and were back ordered from anywhere to 2 to 6 months, and no one could give me a ship time or a guaranteed ship time. So I called up Thermal, and they were actually making a batch of their 3-inch system in mid-June, and so I got on the list for that. And I've had a thermal system in the past, and fitment was great, quality was good, sound was great, so I'm hoping that is the same with this exhaust, and it should be here in a few weeks. When we look at the drivetrain, a lot of components here. This is an RSX base 5-speed transmission. I went back and forth with, do I want to go with a 6-speed or a 5-speed? And Mike and Brian had some really good points. The 2.4 has a ton of torque, and with those tight ratios of the 6-speed, it really just fries the tires into third. And also, if I do decide to boost this down the road in the future, those gear ratios are just way too tight and not very suitable for a turbo car, where the 5-speed is much better. And so when you weigh out the price of what a 6-speed costs compared to the base 5-speed, I was able to have Brian install an M Factory limited slip, as well as go through all of the synchros and gears and inspect it. And he said it looks really, really nice and in good condition. With that being said, we're going to use a Clutch Masters lightweight flywheel and their FX 300 clutch system. This should be plenty of clutch for NA form, and should be able to hold some low to moderate boost as well if we go that route. I have the Drive Shop swap axles over there. And then when we look at the shifter, this is the Acuity 4-way RSX shifter. I'm excited. Supposedly this has some really good, tightness to it and accuracy. And then we'll utilize their base plate as well. And then also we just have some K-tuned OEM spec shifter cables and a JB-tuned clutch line. For the cooling system, this is the CSF full-size K-swap radiator that they offer. It is in a satin black finish. It comes with a fan shroud as well as a Spall fan. I decided to go with a full-size one just for purely out of aesthetics. I thought a full-size radiator would look better in the engine bay rather than a half-size one. It also gives you the option to run coolant hoses or -16 braided. I'm going to do the braided option. I think that'll just look really nice in the engine bay to have braided upper and lower hoses and give it just a nice finishing touch. When we look at the fuel system, I tried to keep it as simple as possible. AEM E85 compatible pump. We have Hybrid Racing's K-swap system, our fuel system, where we have a rail, we have the gauge, we have a regulator, as well as the feed lines that we'll need, and then Injector Dynamics ID 1050s. This is so we can try to tune it on E85 as well. We'll be running a flex fuel sensor. There is some horsepower to be made, even all motor, and if it makes good power on E85, we'll do that. We don't have E85 at the pump here in Bozeman, so I would have to get a 55-gallon drum and store it in the garage, but that isn't too big of a deal, and I'll only do that if it does make significant power over pump gas. And lastly, the engine management. We're going to run the Haltech Elite 1500. I was able to get a good deal on this, and I went back and forth with a Honda or a Lynx, and Brian only ran this for one season in his race car before he upgraded and gave me a good deal on it. And for the price that I paid for this, it was a no-brainer to run this system over any of the other comparable ones. He does something really neat. He takes the Honda case, the ECU case, pulls out the electronic board, powder coats them nicely, and then installs the Haltech in there. So this can now be located and mounted in the OEM position, which will be hidden behind that kick plate and safe from any feet touching it or possible damage. So I really like that. We have the air fuel monitor from NTK, and then this is the Rywire K-swap Haltech plug and play harness. They incorporated the flex fuel sensor in this, as well as the drive-by-wire pedal harness. So this should be plug and play. It is chassis specific to my 96 Civic. So hopefully that doesn't cause any headaches, and it is a true 100% plug and play. So that pretty much wraps this up. Those are the components that I have gathered. I think this is 95% of it. I know I still need an overflow tank and some minor little things. I'm sure some things will come up, but these are the big rocks. And so my goal is to get started on this next week and chip away at it, and hopefully be done and on the dyno sometime early August. So I thank you guys for watching. I know this is long, and if you're at this point of the video and you've stuck around, thank you. If you have noticed that I have forgotten anything or I'm overlooking something, please let me know. Drop a line in the comments. I would appreciate it. So again, thanks for watching. Enjoy the day and keep an eye out for the next video. Thanks.